Greetings and welcome to another replay here at Almost Solitaire. We have now reached the last battle of the Peloponnesian War featured in the Commands and Colors system, and it's a battle called Anapus River 415 BC. And this battle depicts one of the earlier battles in the Athenian expedition to Sicily. They have some allies in Sicily calling for help because of a war against another city, and the Athenians responded by sending, or they planned to send kind of a minor force to their friends in Sicily. But as things developed, there were some greedy guys back in Athens thinking, well, why not send a larger force and take control of Sicily and even Syracuse, who were more close to Sparta, and also why not take whole of Sicily, including the Carthaginian colonies there. So they ended up sending a really big force over to Sicily, also hoping to gain some allies and friends through southern Italy, some Italiots there, and also along the coast of Sicily to gather up a really big army to threaten Syracuse. Anyway, this was not too successful. The three commanders they sent tried to rally troops along the Italian southern coast. They did not manage to get any, and or at least very little, and also they were kind of hostile against them anyway. They didn't let them into the city and negotiate even at some places and so forth. So it was not that of a success. So this expedition was kind of a failure from the start, and this was a real disastrous expedition that they did in the end. They lost a big chunk of the army and a big part of their fleet. I think it was about 200 ships or something got lost in the end. Anyway, there was some talk about retreating or going home back to Athens, but they decided to linger on here at Sicily for a while, and well, since they were here, they're gonna try to attack Syracuse anyway with the forces they had, but they were still seeking for some friends. And at one point, a previously reluctant city of Catania, suddenly they got more friendly to Athens. Catania is located just north of Syracuse, by the way. And one guy from Catania went down to Syracuse and told the leaders there that the Athenian army was camping there, and the men were quartering quite a long way from their weapons, strangely enough. So it was kind of a bait for the Syracusans to leave their city walls and attack the Athenians. And since the guys in Syracuse thought, okay, the Catanians are, well, more like our friends, so they believed this story. So they quickly gathered up their army, marched up towards Catania, and when the vanguard came there, or the Syracusan cavalry got to the place where the Athenians were about to camp, or said to camp, they were gone. And so they sensed something fishy in the air here, and that was true because the Athenians had embarked the ships and was sailing southwards towards Syracuse to take that by surprise while the bigger chunk of the army was away. So the Athenians landed south of Syracuse, close to the bay just south of Syracuse. We can see here on the map, and this is also the part of the great harbor of Syracuse, this bay. And they made a camp there, a fortified camp, and then they marched up to Anapus River, waiting for the returning Syracusans coming down from Catana. And of course they appeared, and they were watching each other. I think it was late evening when they appeared, so there was only some skirmishing happening, but no real battle that evening. So both sides went to camp, and the Syracusans were planning to attack the Athenian blocking force the next day. However, the Athenians had other plans. They thought, alright, let's surprise those guys and attack them, and so they did. So the next morning at dawn, the Athenians arrayed for battle, and kind of secretly, I guess, and then they started the attack. So what we're seeing here on the battle board is that situation. So Athenians in a good battle array here are advancing, and we're seeing some hastily drawn up lines by the Syracusans here. Some hoplites managed to get in line, some coming afterwards, and here we have a just awakened unit rushing to fill that gap in the line, I guess. And yeah, so from here we can start the game actually. And we see here there were actually 3 leaders from the beginning on the Athenian side, but one got accused of treachery and had to flee and return to mainland Greece, into exile there. But 2 of the guys are still here. We have Nicias and we have Lamachus. And the leader on the Syracusan side, the only one actually we have in this game, is Hermocrates. So, the War Council then, we have the Athenians will move first. It's their surprise attack. And as you can see, they have, in a normal game, they would have 6 cards towards 2 of the Syracusans. And if you remember what I told in my first video, Agents video, I will, in these cases, when there's a 2-card gap, I will give in this case, Athenians 4 cards and the Syracusans only 2. The battle will go on till one side gets 6 banners. And for the special rules, okay, so we have this fortified Athenian camp up there. It's 3 hexes. And the thing is that if the Syracusan guys occupies an Athenian camp on the start of their turn, remove that camp hex and give the Syracusans 1 victory banner. So they have potentially 3 banners to grab up there. We have the hotbed rule in effect, and the Anapus River is fordable. So what do we have here then? Well, actually we can check the map itself, because first of all we have some new terrain we haven't seen yet. So these are swamp or marshes, and those are kind of nasty. If you move upon them, you need to end your movement right away, and then you also need to roll 1 die. And if you roll the same symbol as the troop that is occupying the hex, you need to remove 1 block, so they get bogged down in the swamp in that case. So it's a bit nasty, and I think also there are some battle reductions here. I think it's 2 in and 2 out in close combat, and I think also ranged combat out from there is limited to 1 die. Of course, cards can always increase the dice count thrown. And to remind us about the fortified camps, in melee you can ignore 1 flag and 1 sword symbol, I think it was. And in ranged combat you can ignore 1 flag behind those walls. So it's a good protection for units inside. But there is a bad thing with those guys, or that terrain, and that's the guys that are battling out, both in ranged and close combat, will attack with 1 die less than normally. So these auxiliaries will only attack with 2 dice in close combat out of there. And then we have the fordable rivers. Again, like the marsh hexes, you need to stop there, and more or less the same rules: 2 in and out in melee, and I think it's I'm not 100% positive, but I think it was only 1 die out in ranged combat actually. I need to check that if the situation occurs that we get a battle there. So we had the river coming out from the bay, going outside of the map and then in again and down here. So we have 2 parts of the Anapus river here. So for the forces then, we could start with the Athenians perhaps, because they are the aggressor, I think. Actually both sides have attack in mind when they are planning for the battle this day. Athenians are attacking, and also the Syracusans are planning to do the attack, even though they haven't yet really arrayed for the battle. So the Athenian right, we have the camp back there in the right, and well, it's protected by 2 auxiliaries. That's it. And then we have the main battle line. We have some bow units up front. They are already very kind of close to the enemy line already. Definitely in range of many enemies here. And then we have some lights back there. Then comes the main hoplite line, and that's a big one. It's 6 hoplite units in a row there, and supported by 2 leaders. So as it stands now, all these guys get leader bonuses, the whole hoplite line. Then on the far Athenian left we have more bows, actually 2 units of bows, both already in range of the enemy, and they are supported by a light infantry in the rear there. So good skirmish army, and also in the center got a good punch of melee combat, I'd say. And the Syracusans then, well, as we already did see, it's in a bit of a disarray. At least their right hand side is not yet developed, but okay, the left side is more or less already in line here. And one thing we can note right away is that, well, the Athenians have no cavalry at all, right? And the Syracusans actually have 4 units of cav, and 3 of those guys are medium heavy cavalry, so this could be a good fist to do, and a good attack somewhere. Strike at 3 hex range, and well, I think that could be an efficient weapon if used correctly. Otherwise, we have some lights up there, auxiliaries. Then comes the center hoplite line. We have 3 already in the front line. We have 1 back here with Hermocrates, and then we have these guys getting their pants on and running to the line back here. And then on the far right we have more auxiliaries and slingers up front, already in reach of the enemy line, and then these two other cavalry. So here we have the light one as well. So looking at the balance here, and also we can talk about some battle plans at the same time. I think for, you know, when battling and counting the hoplite units here, we have one more on the Athenian side. 6 hoplite units to 5 here. But on the other hand, they got some auxiliaries here, which is kind of good as well. But I think for the Athenian, I will play it like they are, you know, they really want to do these surprise attacks. So they will start marching up if they can, hopefully with some line command or even a double time or something to clash into the Syracusan line here, and preferably before they have arrayed the line properly and got up these rear hand side of hoplites here into the main line. Another thing is, of course, they have the upper hand in terms of skirmish units. I mean, they have the bow units there, and a light behind that, and another bow here and a light. So we have loads of skirmishers here in the edges, and also with a good range. The Syracusans only have one unit with a 3 hex range capability, and that's the slingers here. So, and other than that, they have a light unit there, but no other real skirmishers. I'm not counting the auxiliary here as real skirmishers, but they could be, they could of course have that role as well. But anyway, the Athenians are better off there too, so it could be a plan to, you know, if the Syracusans doesn't advance, we can skirmish it out as long as the lines are static, and then we are ready to push with the hoplites. I don't know, but as I said, I think anyway the first hand plan will be to close in and do the attack, because another thing that's is an advantage on the Athenian side is that they have these 2 leaders, so they will get much more leader bonuses in their close combats than the Syracusans can do, because this guy cannot be everywhere at at the same time, right? For the Syracusans then, well, 2 priorities. First, of course, getting the line together, getting those hoplites into line, and prepare for the Athenian assault, which is coming. The second thing is those camp hexes there. I mean, the terrain here is terrible, of course, so it's not easy to get up to those hexes there. But if we could punch a hole on the Athenian right, then we could pour through with the cavalry and trying to take those camp hexes there. But of course, it will not be an easy task for the cavalry to do that. I mean, they will go down to 2. This medium cavalry will get down to 2 dice rolled in each battle. So it will be an even fight up here. And well, actually the Athenians is better off, because they also can ignore one a sword symbol up there. So I don't know. We need to get more troops on the attack than there are defenders to have a chance to take it, I think. Otherwise we just need to count on good rolls and be lucky. That's not enough. So we need, I think, first of all, we need to get a hole here, and then we can try to get over the river and to that camp. But that will not be easy. And something tells me that we will have enough to do to just keep the Athenians at bay here. I don't know. But as an initial battle plan, I will see if I can get an opportunity to crush that flank and attack that. So we might see an oblique march of the Syracusans towards that direction, right, to get some hoplites here. Let's see. Otherwise, as I said, just try to cope with the Athenians advancing, and we can do some raids with the cavalry. When we see a unit weakened or something, we can ride up from behind and do a surprise attack and try to kill off those stragglers there that are left from a beaten unit. So by that, I think we're ready to start the game. And the Athenians go first, and as you can see, I've dealt them 4 cards, and the Syracusans only 2. So, and we have the Athenian initial hand. So we have 2 right, we have 3 in the center, we have a clash of shields, which of course is not relevant now, and we have an I am Spartacus. We have a good hand here, proposing to do that advance and then clash with them, because we have loads of battle bonuses coming up here. So I think we more or less start with I think I'll start with this center card and perhaps move those 3. It will be a move that I hate in a way, because I will get a gap in the line. I don't really like that, but just need to be done to get forward, because then we can move that guy up to that section which is on, or that hex which is on both sections, and we can activate the leader again with that card next time if we don't already play one of these. So we can get into contact already on turn 2. So let's do that. Let's start with 3 in the center, and I will activate. I could of course play that and start skirmishing it out, but because of these cards I want to get the close combat going right away. So that's why I play this. So I will activate 3 in the center. It will be that hoplite line, and they will start marching forward here, like that, and like that, and like that. Of course, there's always a risk that the Syracusans will react and do the attack first. But if they do, well, we have some good cards to respond with. So that was the first activation. So we're seeing the Athenians and Argives, actually. There are Argives with these guys and Etruscans, I think. It's a mishmash of troops here that the Athenians have brought with them. So, yeah, we are seeing the dawn attack coming along. Athenians on the attack. So let's draw a new card for the Athenians. And then we can check what the Argives got. Okay. Coordinated attack, or the counterattack. Counterattack would give me 3 guys in the center, which would be enough to activate those hoplites and get into the fight. tempting. If I would play this, I can only activate one hoplite. And maybe one auxiliary, and then maybe bring up this hoplite 1 hex. So it would be more of a cautious counterattack. But we could get 2 hits into that unit, the leader unit, with this card, and it's kind of good. So I will roll for it. 1 to 3. I will be more aggressive with my hoplites. 4 to 6. I will do a counterattack, but in a more cautious way, and also focus some bit to get these hoplites into line here. So let's see what Hermocrates decides to do here. Okay, he will go with a bit more cautious plan. So I will activate these guys. I will activate those hoplites, and I will activate those hoplites. Let's just move up those guys. And I will also move up here. We will strike. So we rush up here, meeting shield to shield, and do the attacks. And let's start with the hoplites, of course, because if we got them to retreat or something, we can still throw some javelins from here. So it's 4 dice. By the way, it was the coordinated attack that I played. So it's 4 dice from that hoplite unit against the guy with the leader. Of course, they can ignore 2 flags here, so it will be very hard to get them to retreat. But we could harm them. We could harm them really bad if we are a bit lucky here. Let's see. And we did. Luckily for the Athenians, we don't have any leader adjacent. That would be disastrous, but still, 2 hits. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. And we need to check the fate of Lamachus. And he's fine. So they will now hit back. And of course they also hit with the leader symbols. So this could be deadly. It was really deadly. They managed to, well, wipe out these guys. So they basically rushed into the Athenian spears there, broke and run away from the battlefield. But not without causing some serious losses first. So we are seeing the Athenian first banner already. This could be a quick one, but we have another attack coming. So if we would get that guy now, that will totally be worth the exchange here, because we could get that leader with a bit of luck. But of course, this is auxiliaries. We only get 3 dice. We need 2 hits out of 3 dice here. And we got that. So this is right away from the first start. It's a really bloody battle. So they lost the unit there, the hoplite unit, and the Syracusans get their first banner. And now we only roll 1 die for the leader. So let's see if Lamachus survived this. He did actually fall in this assault from the Syracusans. So I'd say this was totally worth the exchange here. Don't you think so too? So we got the second banner for the Syracusans. Wow, what? This is action. Better than an action movie. Okay, so a hole in the line. The Athenians were not expecting that, that's for sure. So they are a bit in a trouble now, how to react now, because they have shattered lines here and now. Okay, really interesting start. But I'm afraid that what will take its toll is, you know, the big difference in card count. I mean, Syracusans will need to be so lucky with the card draws that they can answer here. But of course, they have the... We know they have the what's called counterattack card, so they can always, you know, counter whatever the Athenians are doing here if they want to. Oops, There was one card falling down. Disaster here. Let's see what happened here. Okay, we got some lights shattered, and we got some lights shattered here as well. Earthquake on Sicily. Okay, here's the situation. This rack is barely enough for holding 4 cards. Okay, we don't have any guys adjacent, so the Clash of Shields is that's not an option. Spartacus would be an option because we could get up to 5 units. Actually, also some skirmishers, so we could get a good bunch of units into play here with some bonus die, and maybe we need that for the Athenian morale now. Otherwise, we have 2 flank cards here. We could do some flank attacks, and well, that's not a bad option either, because then we can march up those hoplites, get an attack on those guys, and we could also pour in some fire with a skirmisher there. So I think that's a cool one, but this is also an interesting option already. The thing is, if I play this card, I'm very tempted to play it on these 2 guys, the advance attack with that extra dice. Fine, but what then? Because here we have suddenly they are in a numerical superiority here with hoplites. They have 4 guys against 2, so they could easily overwhelm me and do these guys, cause these guys to rout, and then we have a big gap in the center, which would be a problem for us. I mean, just think about the Syracusan cavalry pouring in that and spread out in the rear. That could be devastating, so we don't want that to happen. So I think I want to be a bit cautious with those 2. I'm basically screening off the enemy hoplites. So with that in mind, I think I'll play the 2 units right instead for this time, because in that way I can get those hoplites into play, and I will also activate the bow unit there. So because the hoplites can now attach with the other line here, the small line of 2 units, and make us a bit bigger line here. Those guys will not move, so they can attack with 2 dice later on, but we start with the hoplite attack. It's 4 dice, no leader anymore adjacent, but we got in 2 hits. No flags though, so those guys are standing firm there and do a counterattack or a battle back. And they actually also managed to get 2 hits on us, so these are really good fighters here. So 2 hoplites down from the Athenian unit here. This is not starting too well for the Athenians. I don't know if I mentioned it in the beginning, but the Athenians did win this battle. It was one of their early successes in this infamous campaign they had on Sicily that more or less destroyed the whole expedition. But this was a success, a tactical one. It didn't have a larger impact because Nicias, who was the main leader of the force, he failed to pursue the fleeing Syracusans because he didn't have any cavalry. And I think he was a kind of a cautious guy, because he didn't even, after getting away this enemy army, he didn't start to siege Syracuse, and he was just knocking their door here. So, but he embarked the ships again, and they sailed north back to Catana for winter quarters. So I think he was a bit of a cautious guy. So let's see what happens here. Maybe we won't see an Athenian victory here, but sorry about that. It was me thinking along here. So we have still one attack for the Athenians coming, and they will of course pour in a lot of bow fire here. It's 2 dice, and we would need 2 greens to get rid of those guys. We didn't get anything, so we just finish that and give the Athenians another card. They have good cards, but they cannot really use them yet in a good way. So, Syracusans. Okay, this is interesting. Dark in the Sky and the counterattack. And the counterattack would mean 2 units here. I don't think I want to waste that, so maybe we should just go for the Dark in the Sky this time. At least we can get 2 guys attacking 2 times. Right? We have the lights there and we have the slingers there. I do think so. So these guys are adjacent to enemies, so they cannot do a javelin attack. These guys are too far away. So those guys it will be, but the good thing is that we get twice the attack. So let's start here. They have 1 target. It's the bow unit there. And for this roll we don't hope we get any flags, so they get out of range. Of course we got that and we didn't get any hits. So these guys will rush along the river there back towards the camp. So these guys don't have any more targets, so they miss their second opportunity to fire. But we have the slingers and they can choose of different targets, and I will actually target that hoplite unit there. That's the most valuable one to get some hits on. So it's 2 dice first. Nothing. Too bad, we should have gotten this roll against that bow unit. Anyway, second attack. This time we got in and hit. So it was kind of worth it, I'll say. Not bad. We have seriously crippled the Athenian hoplite lines here. Okay, Athenians, what can you do now? Okay, you have medium troops. I think this is a good card for them now. Now they can move up their whole hoplite line by this card. And I'm sure they want to do that. Question is, how should we do this advance? I think I want to do it this way. I will attack the main line of enemy hoplites here. That's so yeah. Let's play the medium troops. I can order up to 6 of these. So I will just activate each and every hoplite unit in line, and these guys will now move in for the attack. So do these. These guys move in support back here. That means those guys will hit with leader symbols. And these hoplite unit will just hold the flank there. Oh, so easy. Oh, crap. Sorry about that. Okay, now we're back. Now, for these guys, I'm not sure if I want to move them at all. I do want to attack though, because I feel we have a good chance to get that auxiliary before he retreats away. So we could get a banner from there. But other than that, I don't feel I want to move him forward, at least, because then he could be hit by many troops. We could move him here, of course. more into the shelter of the guys in the camp. I fear he will be ridden down by some enemy cavalry here soon. Well, let's do that. Let's move him towards here. I don't know if it makes any sense at all, but if we get a chance to retreat, we can at least get towards that camp eventually. And we could start here. So let's do that attack first. So it's 4 dice, and please, we need 2 hits now. We got none, but we got 2 flags, which I think actually these guys are happy to get. So they can now retreat kind of safely back here. Well, they're not in safety because we have another hoplite enemy force approaching, which is could reach in next turn. And I will of course not momentum advance here. I'm happy to push back those guys and hoping to eventually get away. But here's the important thing. And we can start here where we don't have the leader support, because those guys have only 1 target. So 4 dice. Let's hope for some hits this time. Okay, 1 hit. I'm not sure I'm very happy with that, because now they can hit back and they have leader support. And they got in 3 hits and the flag which I need to take. So, well, guys, this is going southwards for the Athenians. We need to retreat. I will get there. I know I'm blocking the path of the retreat for those guys, but at least I can ignore 1 flag there by being support. But I sense we are losing this already. Anyway, we have another attack coming, and now I will attack those weakened hoplites there. And now we have the leader support with us. And I need 3 hits. And I got 2 and a flag. So, should we retreat or should we hit back? It's our turn next time. So I could move those guys back next time instead. So I will hit back. That's 4 dice. And no hits, but we got 2 flags. 1 he can ignore, but the other one he can't. So we actually lose his 1 block because of those 2 flags there. Oh my. Okay. Poor Nikias. I'm just arranging these cards a bit. Grab another card for the Athenians. Well, in this way, the Athenian expedition will be a disaster even before the historical disaster. Okay, so we can play the counterattack, meaning we can order medium troops, which is kind of exactly what I want in this case, because this means I can also get some medium cavalry into action, which is just great in this situation. Or we could, you know, activate 2 units here, but I will take this opportunity. Okay, granted, I can only activate 4 units by this card, but I think it's good enough. Because, well, maybe it's not that easy anyway. I would like to get both those cavalry into attack there. That would be really, really good. But that leaves me only with 2 activations here. Maybe I'm happy with that. Yeah, I am. I will do that. So I was hoping I could get that guy too, but I had to realize I can't. But if I move up my cavalry, I can do it. I mean, the next turn with this card even. So 1, 2, 3 will get those into safety, and then push forward with Hermocrates and his hoplites. So these guys will retreat 1 hex. Hermocrates will now move up with his hand-picked hoplites there for his safety to attack that hoplite unit there, who cannot retreat, by the way, but ignore 1 flag. And here we will now ride up here, and 1, 2, 3 here. So I want to be sure I get that hoplite unit out of the way this turn. So, where to start? We can start in the center this time. So, Hermocrates attack. Let's see what his hoplites can do. Well, not too well, to be honest. Only 1 flag, and he can ignore that, the Athenian guy, but okay, 1 hit anyway. But that was not too impressive, because now they can hit back, and they also have leader support. This could really hurt. But they failed to inflict any losses. Perhaps they were shattered by those heavy losses they already taken from the Syracusan attack there. Okay, so then we have the medium cavalry charge. We start with those guys. That's 3 dice, and I kind of hope I can get those guys out of the way. If I roll a flag, 1 flag that is, it's okay, because then those guys retreat there and I can do the second attack. So let's see, 3 dice. And that's enough. We got 3 hits in, so good. And we get another Syracusan banner, victory banner. So we are now in the lead 3-1. And of course we will do the momentum advance. I think we could even move 1 hex further, but I will not do that. I just stay here and do the second attack. These light guys are able to retreat or evade. They will do that up to the river there. So we are pushing those back towards the camp there. So this is, remember the battle plan, this is exactly happening what we were hoping for in our wildest dreams as the Syracusan player. I mean, we have punched a big hole here. We are now ready to attack the camp with some cavalry. On the other hand, they are a bit stronger here than I thought from the beginning, because they could retreat some troops there, but they don't have any hoplites there. That's a good thing. Anyway, I will not forget to roll my 3 dice in the attack of those evading lights. And unfortunately we didn't get any guys. They did see the threat coming, and when the hoplites were going down here, so they already started the retreat, I guess, up to the river and towards the camp. So these guys are just staying put there then. Okay, this is the situation. Another card for the Syracusans. They are doing really well with only these two card hand, I must say. I mean, those guys are pressing the Athenians now. Well, I think I'll actually call it a day here, and just some short debrief. We have, as I said, pushed the Athenians back to the camp there. If we can get rid of some of those guys, we could also get those free banners from capturing the Athenian camp. Here we have forced the Athenian into a clump here. And okay, we have Nicias there, and we have hoplites surrounding him. It's a kind of a hedgehog position here, but look at those Athenian hoplite units. They are wear down. 1, 2 units, blocks, 3 blocks, and 4 blocks. So, since we have a few banners to grab from here too. Up here, well, their light skirmish left flank has been detached from the main line, and so far they have only been watching the battle from there, not doing anything. So I think the Syracusans are really happy. They have not committed their right flank yet either to the battle, but they have the option to push those guys off and or attack that center line together with the hoplite. So I think, to be honest, these guys will be surrounded and doomed. They will be more down to the last man there. But we know they have some good cards in their hand. So maybe it's time for that I am Spartacus card already next turn. Let's see. I will end this here, and thank you again for watching, and hope you will back for the next video. Thanks and bye.